Okay, hello and welcome to the first of what will hopefully be many film reviews. We're going to start with the film Bad Teacher, which myself, Rob and Mark, say hello Mark,
Hello.
saw at the AMC Cinema in Manchester where, well, the customer service is, well, not great. Dire. Yes, not great.
I hate Luther.
We're not going. Well, I was going to say let's not name names, but we have Luther.
Fuck Luther.
Yeah, Luther's not the best. So let's begin, Mark, with a quick plot outline and make it quick because I've got some questions for you.
Okay, so basically there is a bad teacher. She doesn't enjoy a job very much. She starts off, basically she's just been forced to break up with her husband. She doesn't particularly like a job. She's doing everything she can to find a man to live off who has as much money as is physically possible. Justin Timberlake comes along as a new substitute teacher and realises that his family owns a rather rich watch manufacturers. She decides that to attract Justin Timberlake to her, she needs to get herself a pair of very large fake breasts and a number of apples for her to attempt to make the money.
Okay, well that leads me on to my first question. Does, well, the beginning of the film capture your attention and interest? I'm going to just add a little point. You say that Justin Timberlake's family sort of own a watchmaking company. That completely bypassed me. So maybe it didn't capture my interest that much, but did it capture, well, the beginning of the film, did it sort of, were you into it from the off?
Well, I think it's important to say that whenever you go and see a film, you should always go in there with an open mind, whatever you've heard about it before. And though I'd seen the trailer, in my head I wasn't expecting this to be a particularly good film. So I would admit that I had quite low expectations, and I don't think the start was particularly strong.
What happened at the start?
Well, at the very start, I can't even remember the exact start. At the very start, she breaks up with her husband.
I think, well, the very start is she's having a leaving party at the school, surrounded by all her colleagues, and they wish her on the way. Not very sort of.
Clearly, she's not connected with the rest of the staff.
She's not a popular member of staff, so that leads into the sort of scene whereby her husband asks for a divorce, and she needs money for a boob job, as you mentioned before, and that thrusts her back into the school and the film starts. Characters, did they seem real? Were they interesting? Did they sort of capture your imagination? And who were the main characters?
They were by no stretch of the imagination realistic. No teacher would ever get away with being as unpleasant as Cameron Diaz is. Justin Timberlake's character, though is supposed to be nice, is just weird. I think by far the most normal person is Jason Segel's character. To some extent, I think that's the point of his character. I think he was the funniest thing about the film, because his reactions to things is exactly how the normal person would react in those ridiculous kind of situations.
And then you had I forget her name, but the ginger
one, yeah, with the
teacher that was kind of Cameron Diaz's nemesis.
Yeah.
So if you were to sum up the characters in one sentence, how would you? Cameron Diaz, for a start.
It's a hard question to answer.
Well, shall I start off with Cameron Diaz? I would say clearly a bad teacher, not focused on lessons, a bit mean, in a sort of over-the-top way, not very believable. I don't think that's ever going to happen in a school. Jason Segel?
Yeah, I'd say by far the most normal character in the film. More likeable than any of the characters, not quite as extreme. I'd say the voice of reason.
In amongst an unrealistic group of characters, including Justin Timberlake, who I suppose we could describe as slightly slightly on the surface zany / he is quite a normal person, but behind the scenes perhaps not very normal at all.
There's one specific scene in particular But his unusualness comes out.
A scene which I would say didn't really seem to fit in the context of the film.
I understood what they were trying to do. I don't want to give away any. Well, I don't.
Can you describe the scene?
Basically, Justin Timberlake dry humps Cameron Diaz from behind.
But why? For what reason did that happen?
No, the thing is, there's nothing wrong with dry humping. I'm all for a bit of dry humping, but it's done in such a way to imply that he's actually having sex with her. He's like the things that he says, and it kind of. I didn't find that bit was funny, but purely from being sat next to Rob, looking at him, thinking, what the shit is going on here? Like, it was a very odd scene.
It was, in terms of looking at the film as a whole, I thought generally the plot flowed well, nothing seemed out of place. It had a sort of a fairly decent storyline, but that one scene just, I don't think really fitted.
The thing is, I mean, you know, when you watch a film like this, you're not going in expecting to be watching Schindler's List. And in my opinion, it did everything that it expected to. And like you said after the film, it's one of those where...
Was it funny? Did you laugh?
It had its moments, but again, as I say, most of them around Jason Segel's character. I found him particularly for just the faces that he pulls. But yeah, as I say, it's not brilliant, but it's when you're on a Sunday afternoon and you've got nothing better to do, it's a good sit down and watch. It requires very little thought, and it's a good bit of fun. It's a good bit of fun.
Was there an exciting climax? Was there anything sort of right home about?
You can see it coming from a mile off. But
so it's an obvious.
Yeah, it's an obvious ending. But then films like this always do pretty much have an obvious ending, and I don't think that's necessarily criticism.
I think possibly the test of whether you like a film and it was worth seeing at the cinema is, would you watch it again? And you said you would watch it on a Sunday afternoon. It's kind of a background film. So if you say you would watch it again, therefore it's perhaps not a bad film at all.
No, I don't think it's a bad film at all. But it's in the same vein as like. I mean, Hangover's better, but it's in the same vein as that and like 40-Year-Old Virgin and stuff like that, where you can just sit down, have a laugh. It doesn't require your full attention, but you can still enjoy it.
So, if you were to mark the film out of 10, how many marks would you give it?
Because it does exactly what it sets out to do. So, I mean, I give it a solid 6.
I gave it a 7. So, I think on the basis of those 2 marks, we would say that Bad Teacher is not a bad film at all. It's not, as you say, a Schindler's List or a Shawshank Redemption, and it's not even a Bridesmaids in terms of sort of making you laugh out loud. But overall, it's not a bad film.
Yep.